In my research, Vasquez and company has done work with other company or other agencies similar to ours. They did experience some trouble in the LA area for what could be questionable choices, but I couldn't find anything in particular that would preclude them from working for us. They and Rogers Anderson both have similar qualifications. Rogers Anderson does, other than being on time, they do seem to have more clients similar to us, although both of them do have clients similar to us. Their rates are similar. The hourly rate for Vasquez and company is slightly less, but it does seem that Rogers Anderson has a larger staff, which would be more to our benefit. Either one would be a T&M contract, so we're only getting charged for the hours we actually use. Based on what we asked them to analyze in the RFQ, the estimated annual cost is roughly $21,450. Although based on our past experiences with our current CPA and former CPAs, that can vary pretty wildly. Our current CPA, theirs it was considerably less. However, they didn't really have time for us, so we could have asked more questions and gotten more help, but they weren't available.
Is the current CPA Darshan?
No.
Or somebody else?
I Bailey is our current CPA.
Okay.
We selected them based on a similar process. However, due to loss of some of their personnel, they are no longer able to serve all their clients. So some of the smaller ones like us, they're no longer going to service us.
Understood. And this is just for accounting services. This is nothing to do with the audit.
So we still, at the last meeting, we approved a contract for an audit. They are two separate services. This one is direct services to assist us to ensure that our reporting and our accounting is correct, and provides outside oversight of our financial officer and all of our internal operations regarding finances so that we don't end up with a problem.
Okay. And time and materials, so it's going to be billed, I assume, monthly for hours utilized in that month, that 30 terms.
Yeah. And generally, and it's not my preference, and I really urge them not to, but a lot of consultants like this usually bill 2 to 3 months behind. So, but it will still be billed on a monthly basis, and we still will only be billed for hours used.
Okay.
If there is other reimbursables, they will be billed on a monthly basis if they occur. Similar to our current CPA, most work will be done remotely. However, if they have to travel here for some reason, that will be an additional charge. It doesn't seem that will be necessary, but if it is, that is additional.
Okay. As part of your RFQ process, do you provide them with any sort of C.S.D. terms and conditions that gives us an exit easily? In other words, we can terminate with 30 days notice if they are not performing to our standards?
I believe that's our current terms.
Okay. And by submitting a proposal, they're agreeing to those, or how are we ensuring that they would agree to the district terms?
So when we submit an RFP, they're required to notify us if they have any deviation from our current terms.
Okay.
So we weren't notified of any direct changes, so.
Okay, understood. So if they do not perform, we can give them notice and terminate.
Pardon me?
So if they do not perform, we can provide 30 days notice and
Yes.
terminate. Fair enough. Any other comments and questions from the board?
I have one.
Yes.
You said if travel was necessary, there'd be additional charges. Are they, they're local, I assume?
I forget where Rogers is from.
Yeah, I do too. I'm sure I saw it.
Yeah, neither one of them is local, but,
Rogers is out of Glendale.
yeah.
Glendale?
Vasquez.
Vasquez is in Glendale.
Okay, what about this Rogers Anderson?
Stand by.
San Bernardino.
San Bernardino.
So, like I said, most likely they won't have to come here. We haven't had our current CPA here. Everything has been able to be remote. Our accounting software is such that they can access that remotely.
Okay.
So the likelihood of them having to come here is very slim.
I guess that
And you're leaning towards Rogers Anderson, Melody and Scott?
Yeah, based on what I was able to research on them, that it seems like they have more clients similar to us. They would be more, so they would have more experience with an agency our size.
Okay.
Do you know what our spend was last year with our previous CPA?
I don't think I have that right now. Let me look, because we can look that up in the budget adjustment.
Okay.
2 seconds.
Comments and questions while he's looking it up, gentlemen?
Actually,
I do. I don't know if it's a question or a comment, but I've been looking at over Vasquez on here also. And sounds to me like that they would be the ones to put in instead of Anderson and so on. From what I can read here.
Is there something in particular that's striking you?
Yeah, number one is that the Anderson and so on, they're associated with LA. The one lady, can't remember her name. Anyway, she had,
This one?
yeah, no. Good looking.
Still wrong?
No, right there. Yeah. She, the way I understand, she was involved with the water district in LA, and everybody knows what kind of problems they had with running out of water, reservoirs being empty and so on. So I think we should, maybe we could have 2 votes. 1 vote for them, and then 1 for Vasquez.
well, we need to vote for one. If that one fails, then we can vote for the other one.
Okay.
So there needs to be one to start with.
Do you know what that individual's involvement is with the LA Water District?
No, I was just looking, but when I was reading down through there, she was involved with the JPA. What it said on that, so.
So for 23-24, we spent approximately $9,900. Well, $9,937 if my math is right, but I might be off
Okay,
doing it on my phone. But under $10,000.
okay. And that was also based on time and materials?
Yes.
So that whatever that usage is, we consider it less than this because it's up to 21,450. That was simply based on less need, do you think?
Well, like I said, they had a shortage of people. They shoveled us between several people through our time with the CPA. So they could have helped us more if they had staffing available, but that wasn't the case. What was proposed in this agenda item for the 21,000 is if they do the number of hours that we expected from our current CPA. So most likely it will be less than $21,000, but it could be that, it could be more. This isn't really approving a fixed dollar amount, but that is where we expect it to be.
Yeah, not to exceed 21,450. Okay. Any additional board comment or questions, gentlemen? Anyone? No. How about some public comment on this item? No public comment. All right, well, back to us. We have a motion. Anyone would care to make?
I motion to approve for what was Anderson? The Anderson.
Rogers, Anderson,
Yes.
Melody, and Scott LLP.
Yes.
So we have a motion to approve resolution 2025-01, approving a contract agreement with Rogers, Anderson, Melody, and Scott LLP to provide certified public accounting services for the district. Do we have a second?
Second.
Director Smiley?
Okay, we'll have a vote to approve resolution 2025-01. Rogers, Anderson, Melody, and Scott. Man, I have so many names. Director Smiley?
Yes.
Director Davis?
No,
Director Beatty?
Yes.
Director Green?
Yes, I guess, yes.
Director Sangster?
Yes.
Passes 4-1, 0 absence.
I'm not exactly sure what involvement was.
Depends, Michelle, if you get testy
Maybe we
there.
should direct staff to, keep their ear to the wall.
yeah, right, well, that's what I'm saying, you know, what I read on two different companies. I kind of like Vasquez over the other ones.
Did you have some direction?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what the involvement was and what the complaint was or anything, but just if there's anything fishy going on, keep your ear to the wall, that's all.
Yeah.
I have no idea what all that entailed.
Well, if there becomes an issue, then it'll come back to the board and we'll
Thank you.
confirm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we move on to item number 4. Safer grant application approval by resolution 2025-03.
Good evening. So the suggested action is to review and approve resolution 2025-03, appointing the district fire chief as a representative in all matters relating to the safer grant process. And the discussion simply is the San Miguel Fire Department is responsible for providing emergency services throughout the San Miguel Community Service District, the County of San Luis Obispo, and the state of California, and understands the need for adequate staffing to meet the level of service required to service this need. In order to achieve this level of staffing, the San Miguel Fire Department is in the process of applying for the 2025 Safer Grant cycle. And the fiscal impact is minor. We utilize Roy Williams' service to assist with the grant writing. We provide the data. She works with me on the grant application, and we push that grant through. This will be the third year that we apply for it. And it seems like in the past, larger jurisdictions have taken the lion's share of that. Sac Metro and Sac Proper, I think combined, pulled in $16 million. So hopefully the economy's getting better in those areas where they've lost, businesses and taxes. But if we don't apply, our guarantee is 100% zero.
Have we ever gotten anything?
For the safer grant? No, not yet.
Go ahead.
What's the projected cost from,
So you have to understand the safer grant, how it works. We're looking for 2 positions, 24/7, 365 for 3 years. The safer grant is a 3-year grant cycle. So that's 6 firefighters for 3 years. Last year, I think the application was 1.4 million to fulfill that need. And if you look at what's going on in Southern California and what happens within our county, firefighters who population ratio, people are complaining about 750 to 1. Our population to firefighter ratio is 3,000 to 1. So the initial need is to service our community and our neighbors, and then reach out beyond that. But the need is genuine. It is for our public safety.
no, I understand that. What do you, on an hourly basis for this person that does the grant writing, what do you expect that?
She's
the fee-
modest. We have employed Lexipol for the first year, and they were like $3,800 to write the SAFER grant. Aurora is a fraction of that, maybe $1,200. So she's very modest. She's been successful in receiving the Office of Traffic Safety grant, and she has assisted me 2 years in a row, or actually this will be her second year for the SAFER grant. So her services are, I think, very reasonably priced. And her past experience has been a grant writer for Twin Cities Hospital and things of that nature, so she has a depth of knowledge with that.
And what, is there a dollar amount that you're asking for, or is it just based upon need? How do they determine?
Last year, our projected need was 1.4, and I'll have to work with the financial officer. We have to come up with what the rate for that position is. Our positions are based on minimum wage plus quals, and then that has a multiplier for the 3-year window. So we have to project what the future's going to hold, and then, you know, have some available money for promotional opportunities based on, you know, educational requirements being met. But we were at 1.4 last year. It's probably going to be very close to the same. And that's for 6 firefighters for 3 years. And it would actually be a firefighter and an engineer. We may modify those positions to be a captain and a firefighter. That way, there's room for advancement the way that we structure the positions. So previously we were looking at an engineer and a firefighter, so there's room for advancement for both positions. And then we write the job descriptions in a manner to where they have a certain amount of time to advance in their positions.
Thank you. I know, just a comment, I will say that, you know, grants really make the world go around here in public agencies and even in, you know, educational settings. And I know that in my day job of employment, we have a lot of departments and academic units that are using grant writers specifically for that reason, because of their expertise and knowledge and how the process works, and really what elements within that grant proposal will likely get them an approval. So it's valuable to have somebody that with the experience that knows how to do it.
You have limited space and limited words
Yeah.
to get your picture across. So we provide the data, she plugs it in, and then we both sit down and review it, and then I have to hit the submit button.
Yeah. Any other board comment or questions?
Yeah, it's, I just got a question for Scott. I think it was, what, 2 months ago, you were talking about expanding outside the CSD district through LAFCO or something like that.
That's correct.
Does this have anything to do with that?
So this has nothing to do with that, but with the SAFER grant, you have a 3-year window for funding. Beyond that 3-year window, you're expected to fund those positions. Previously, it was if you couldn't fund them, you had to pay that back. They eliminated that condition because it was unachievable sometimes. But with your grant application, you have to have a succession plan. I always get those words mixed up. The South had to get one, we're doing another one, but we're looking to succeed. And part of our succession plan is to expand our boundaries to be able to afford those positions into the future.
Okay.
Any comments or questions, Director Smith?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We need public comment first.
Oh, excuse me.
We have any public comment on this item? No.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor to approve Resolution 2025-03, SAFER grant application by Director Green, second by Director Sangster. Have a vote. Director Davis?
Yes.
Director Smiley?
Yes.
Director Green?
Yes.
Director Beebe?
Yes.
And Director Sangster.
Yes.
Passes 5-0-0.
Thank you, directors.
We're going to item number 5, San Miguel Community Services District 2022 to 2027 Strategic Plan 1-year review.
So this item is brought back annually for the board's consideration and for updates. Generally, we have a projector for this that did not come with us today. I would suggest that we table this until February so that we can have it on the projector so that everybody can see adequately. The stuff in the packet will not change from this month to next month, but it is really difficult to see. So if we could take public comment,
Yes.
and if the board is amenable to tabling it, then I'd like to.
Okay, any questions or comments first, gentlemen?
No.
I have one.
Okay.
As I was reading through this, it seemed like it's maybe the same document that was printed in the past.
So
And has it been updated?
So the update is in the PowerPoint that's at the front of it.
I see.
That's where we're providing an update on where those projects and those
Thank you.
things are.
You want to save mine?
Yeah, say it.
You're more than welcome to. They'll save, you know.
Well, it's
10
100
pages.
pages or something.
It is quite a bit.
Okay, any public comment on this item?
It's 100 pages.
This is nitpicky, but Murray Powell, Templeton resident. I was looking this up, so it starts on 224, and the actual document on that page talks about this review, but it's, the title on it is the San Miguel Groundwater Sustainability Agency. This is not about that agency. And it also has an agenda item of 8.5, and the agenda item on here, I just got confused for a couple minutes trying to see what we were doing here. So this agenda item is 5. So just for the record, I would correct that document in your agenda documents.
So the title on the top of the report is District Board of Directors and Groundwater Sustainability Agency.
Oh, I see, I'm sorry. It is 8.5, I got it. Sorry about that, but the title was confusing on that.
Okay,
That confuses me too. That wasn't like that 4 years ago? When
No, because 4 years ago, we had 2 separate meetings.
Right.
One for the GSA and one for the board. But we've combined those to save time in meetings.
So it says Board of Directors and.
Every time I see it, it confuses me.
thank you for your comment. The motion that we table this to the February meeting.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none.
Okay, moving on, item number 6. Discuss board handbook, chapter 5, section C2, regarding printing board packets.
So this item was requested to come before the board by Director Green and Director Sangster regarding printing packets or potentially providing some sort of other means to receive packets. Currently, the board handbook, chapter 5, section C2, corresponds to the board members, states board packets will be provided to the board through district email. Paper copies of the board packets and other information will not be provided unless an exception is granted by the board president or general manager. This policy was implemented to reduce the cost of printing and preparing board packets, as well as waste that occurs when packets are discarded. Currently, we printed a couple packets for Director Green at his request so that we can ensure that he has the packets. It does cost quite a bit to print packets, and for the large part, they end up in the trash once they're done.
These.
Well, Director Green apparently saves them in posterity,
I got a
so
filing cabinet just for this.
I'm sorry.
You and Greg.
So that's what the current board handbook states. If we want to provide paper or make it available as paper for future, then we'll need to amend the board handbook to do that so that the exception doesn't become the rule. My recommendation would be that we purchase inexpensive laptops for everybody so that they can have them digitally. That will actually cost us less than printing them. So open to any suggestions if you want to discuss or make a recommendation.
I think that's a great idea myself. for several reasons, not short of anything requesting information from your personal device. Having all district business on a district-owned device makes more sense to me, and being able to access district email and board packets on the same device. It doesn't have to be some high-speed, low-drag, $3,000 gaming computer. It literally can be very, very basic because it's basic functionality.
On a sound card.
Sound card, right? But nevertheless, as you pointed out, I think in the long run, it'd be less than the printing of packets, even for one board member, for the totality of one year, calendar year. So it's my opinion. Anyone else, please chime in.
I think that, Owen, did you have something?
Oh, no, I was gonna agree with Ashley, but like I said, that the only thing that it would be used for was for C.S.D. business, right?
Right,
None of our personal things would be on it?
right.
Okay.
Just to point out that if there was ever some investigation or, somebody wanting information, your personal computers, if you use them, become public knowledge.
Yeah, I know.
And are subject to being reviewed.
Yeah.
I'm not receiving a stipend. That's $1,200 that you can throw at it right there. So give me a good one.
Please.
Please.
Do you have any other board comments, questions? No. No? Okay, we have public comment. We do not.
I'd like to make a motion.
We have it in here, we have it. Pardon me?
Go ahead.
They would have to be Wi-Fi capable since we're
Yeah.
Wi-Fi here.
Well, like a sound card and Wi-Fi capable, I think you'd have to pay not to have them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll obviously make sure that they will work for what is normally occurring.
So I just want to, you guys can't take action to approve purchase of laptops right now because that's not on the agenda. So what this would be is direction to staff to go and probably get an estimate for the cost and then bring that back to the board.
And change the handbook?
The details.
And change the handbook?
Yes.
Well, we wouldn't have to
Well,
change the handbook. We wouldn't change the handbook if we're not printing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. There's no change if you're not, as long as you're not printing. I assume we're not doing laptops and printing.
No, please no.
So you need a consensus.
So we just need direction to bring that back in February.
Bring it back.
So we provide direction to bring back a quote for 5 laptops for the board members for approval at that time.
And to piggyback that, I'll need a paper copy for February.
I thought as much.
Okay.
So if
With the consensus?
we just get consensus to bring back an action item to purchase 5 laptops in February.
Perfect.
Joe?
John? Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it passes 4-0.
I just don't want you messing with it
4-1.
Oh,
tomorrow.
I'm sorry.
The last thing I'm gonna ever do.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 7.
4-1.
Okay.
Process for appointing person to vacant board of directors seats.
So this item was requested by Director Green and seconded by Director Sangster to bring back information about appointing persons to open board seats. There was discussion on an investigation on what happened at previous meetings, but we need more direction on what the board wants to do. So what's provided today is what we know of the process and what has been occurring. We don't have a specific policy regarding how members are appointed to the board. generally follow state law as far as how voting is occurring. In every case, we've sent out a notice, which a sample notice was attached to this agenda, providing information about the date and time that you can apply by, the date and time of the meeting, any interested applicants would provide their information to the board clerk or the general manager. Those would be consolidated into a report for the board to consider and to interview at whatever meeting that was occurring at. There was a question about the questions asked to people. What we found is the questions seemed to be the same. We didn't have any variation in the questions. Those questions were apparently borrowed from another agency, so we didn't even make up the questions. Those questions are in the staff report if you'd like to read them, but other than that, as far as whether a vacancy is appointed or an election is convened or the Board of Supervisors are engaged, those are 3 different processes. Those are all available at any appointment. The cheapest and easiest is obviously for this board to appoint somebody. If this board can't come to a consensus on who they want to appoint, then it would go to an election if we're within that window. If that's not available, then we could request the Board of Supervisors to appoint somebody. But again, it would be through a process where people will put in their nomination and then be interviewed, and somebody would be appointed by the Board of Supervisors. I don't know what other information you guys would like to have, if there's something missing here.
Matt?
Of course.
What I saw during that process was you're requested to put in a letter of intent and or qualifications. I only saw 2 on the website. There was 4 or 5, but only 2 were letters of intent or qualification. Director Smiley submitted one, I submitted one, and then I believe there was one that said, yeah, I want to, or something to that effect, which to me doesn't qualify a person under the policy.
Okay, do you have
It was a text, you have them on your website. It was a text message. Yes, I'm interested. That's all it was.
Which appointment were you talking about? Well, if you tell me which person was appointed, then I can figure that out.
It was Crystal Lara. And then during those interviews, it was disclosed